could be potential replacements. Now, Dalton wouldn't be at the top of my list, but I understand it. Established pro, wouldn't be very expensive. You feel you could moderate his turnovers, and there's only one job left, which means Josh McDaniels might still be there next year. What would he look like in the Josh McDaniels offense, and a smart player who could ostensibly pick it up quickly? Now, to answer your question, could he sell the fans on Dalton? Don't matter, because he wouldn't try. Bill Belichick is the only coach in the league that could have an icon move on. And when he's asked about his replacement, he's like, well, we brought in a lot of players this offseason. Devin McCourty had to be replaced. He was a great player with this franchise. Whatever he would say.
That's a great...
Whatever it was you said to him.
He absolutely would not try to sell the fans on Dalton. And as much as Patriot fans adore Tom Brady, their second favorite person in their sports life is Bill Belichick. And he has earned every benefit of the doubt, every modicum of trust from fans. Now, maybe not from the NFL league office as far as following the rules, but as far as fans, he has earned the benefit of the doubt. Guys, I'm going to put us in a position to continue to contend, to win our division, and compete for championships. And so he will mute the noise immediately, and they won't have to deal with such noise. So whether it's Dalton, I think, and people would have a adverse reaction to this, I think Marcus Mariota is a very real possibility. Cheap, mobile, doesn't turn the ball over. We saw him have one really good year in year two, and then something happened to him over the last few years. He never got close back to it. Those are the... Teddy Bridgewater is a possibility. Those are the types of names the Patriots would be replacing Brady with, because I don't think they're going to just hand the car keys to Jared Stidham. But whomever it is, Belichick ain't going to do some big sales job, because that's not who he is.
Yeah, for me, when I look at Andy Dalton, I just don't think this is the... He has enough around him, even if this were the move they make. When you look at...
You do or don't think he has, enough around him? Doesn't have any...
Because when you look at his resume, his success solely depends on having a guy on the perimeter that can make plays for him. A.J. Green has been in and out of the lineup. And where has Andy Dalton been? Nowhere to be found.
Yep.
Nowhere to be found. If you go and insert him into this New England Patriots offense, who is he throwing the ball to? He doesn't have that guy that can really alleviate some of that pressure. And so I don't like that. And to your point, Belichick wouldn't have to sell anything. He can go in there with a no-name quarterback, and everyone will be sold on the fact that, okay, this is our guy, because it's Bill Belichick, because his plug-and-play mentality, his culture that he's already established of, I will go and find the best player that fits, not so much the best player statistically in the pop and the wow factor, the best player that fits what it is I want to get done. And in my opinion, that is Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater, he can run, he's mobile, and he can throw the ball accurately, and he understands a grand scheme offense that you can throw at him. He's done it in Minnesota when he was a rookie.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans now, filling in for Drew Brees with Sean Payton at the helm.
And what Bridgewater and Mariota have in common is they don't turn the ball over. They're not going to be wowed by their arms. They don't turn the ball over. Dalton turns it over a little bit more than them, but he's not a super heavy turnover guy. Any of these, well, maybe not Mariota, but Bridgewater or Dalton, I do think would be, even at the same price, a slight upgrade, Dalton a slight upgrade, and Bridgewater a significant upgrade over whatever Tom Brady's coming back as next season, especially when you incorporate the fact that Brady is reportedly going to want $25 to $30 million, which I understand why he would want it, but Belichick does not pay based on past performance. So I think that the issue for the Patriots fans, they need to understand is, with or without Brady, there is this narrative, oh, well, they're going to reload on the offensive side of the ball this offseason. My question to you would be how? They went over a decade without spending a first-round pick on a skill position offensive player. And then they did it in back-to-back drafts. Sony Michel, N'Keal Harry. They then spent a second-round pick on Mohamed Sanu. Do you really think the Patriots are going to go 3 drafts in a row, in addition to having just spent their second-round pick for this upcoming year on a wide receiver, on a skill position guy? Because I don't. You think they're going to be big spenders in the free agency in the offseason. They never have been. So I think they will tinker. I think they will address the tight end position. But the idea that the Patriots are going to come back next year with Amari Cooper in the fold or one of those Alabama wide receivers who they draft in the early 20s, all of our history says they are not going to go that route. So whomever the quarterback is, they might have slightly improved weapons of this year, but not drastically so.
All right, let's talk back to the Cowboys again. The expectation is inevitable. You don't always win. You can, however, learn from that failure, pick yourself up with great enthusiasm, and place yourself in the arena again. And that's right where you will find me, because I know I still have more to prove. Greg Jennings, what does Tom Brady have left to prove after everything he already has?
Well, statistically, he has nothing left to prove. He's done it all. But this is what makes him special. This is what has allowed him to stay at the pinnacle and be one of the greatest to ever play sports, like across any arena, across any platform, because he understands how to reboot and how to reset and how to manipulate himself to believing this. I have more to prove. Yes, did he have a declining year? Of course. And I know my counterpart over here is going to let us know all about it. But his I have more to prove is more than just statistically. It's about wins for him. He doesn't grade himself on how well he performed and how many numbers he put up personally. That's not what Tom Brady gets caught up. He wants to win, period. It's all about winning. When he doesn't win or when he doesn't get to where they feel or he feels that they should be as an organization, it's a loss. And when you play within an organization that is championship or bust, something that he was able to establish early on in his career, this is your mentality. And this is what makes you great. So, yes, to himself, and that's all that matters, he does still have something to prove.
So where you are incorrect is that...
Let me tell you what you're wrong.
Well, no, is that I don't care what he did this past year on this question. You can't go backwards in legacy in my eyes. There's no athlete. It's not fair to say, had he retired a year ago, he would be here, but because he kept playing, he went down. No, he, even playing poorly this year, enhanced his legacy. You know why? Because he still was the best 42-year-old quarterback we've ever seen. It's just it's a very short list, and most of them were terrible as opposed to just below average. But I want to talk about this year, because Brady... You're right that maybe he believes he has something left to prove. But if he does, he's the only person in the world who believes it. He's got nothing left to prove.
Absolutely.
Brady, if there were any doubts remaining about who the greatest quarterback of all time is, he removed them 4 years ago. 2016 Super Bowl, Atlanta Falcons, 28-3. Guys, I got it, and most impressive about it, the players on his team believed it, and the Falcons were worried about it. That gave him his 5th championship. That passed him on Montana on the count the rings argument. It also was a no questions asked Tom Brady-led Super Bowl. That was not a great Belichick defense. That was not a brilliant game plan. That was we are getting our heads handed to us, but my hand will stay calm. I won't be shaky. Get on my back, and I will take us to victory. Since that moment, he's won a league MVP, and they won another Super Bowl. So there is nothing left for him to prove whatsoever. Go ahead, Jen.
Can I disagree with you just for a second? What's the one thing he's wanted to do that no one else has ever done? He wants to play till age 45. What's the one thing no one else seems to think he can do? Win without Bill Belichick. What's the other thing? Win outside of New England. I think aside from the stats and the wins, he's now at a different place in his career where it's time for him to prove that he can do this in his own, without any competition. It's him and him alone.
Okay, but then we are asking, then he has something to prove again. The age 45 is something he set in his own brain. That was no one else's standard. And the do it without Belichick is so unfair. Because how many championships Terry Bradshaw win without Chuck Noll? How many Bart Starr win without Vince Lombardi? How many? And I know Marino never won a championship, but how was Marino was with Shula the whole time? Troy Aikman was with Jimmy Johnson, and then Barry switched it last year, but that was Jimmy's team. These great quarterbacks are hand in hand. John Elway never won a Super Bowl till Mike Shanahan got there. They are Joe Montana with Bill Walsh.